Okay, hi, in this video I'm going to show you why most brands are leaving 20 to 80% of their email revenue on the table and how to know if you're one of them. Because you could be sending campaigns, you could have all your flow set up, but you still could be leaving 20 to 80% of your revenue on the table. And then we'll cover two psychological forces that the top 1% of the best Klaviyo accounts use to extract 3 to 12 times more revenue from their same list size. So this is the difference between the eCom brand with a list of 50,000 subscribers that generates $1,000 per email campaign, and the eCom brand with also 50,000 subscribers that generates $10,000 per email campaign. So before we get to that, I'm Matt Pirelli. There's a photo of me holding a glass of champagne. I don't drink, but if your grandma is turning 80, you might as well drink a glass or two. I'm the founder of Email Engineers, started it in 2021. We help e-commerce brands, specifically high 7 and 8 figure e-commerce brands, scale their email revenue, and our clients' accounts, their email revenue lives in Klaviyo's top 10% of conversion rate and revenue per recipient, according to their benchmarks. But let's take a step back for a second. How is that the typical e-commerce brand is approaching email marketing right now? It comes to what all of us have learned at some point in time. And they say that we have to go to sites like reallygoodemails.com, get ideas, get inspired by these emails, and tweak them to our own brand, right? So that is a typical approach. That's what we've been all being told we should be doing. And to be fair, this approach works. Those brands with huge email lists, 2,000 subscribers and beyond, can get away with this method, and you will understand why in a moment. But for most brands, this is the worst method there is. Because what happens when we do this, when we start copying this type of email, is that we really have no clue on their performance. We have absolutely no way to know whether these are just beautiful emails or they are high converting emails. We have no clue. So this used to be a mystery. Nobody really knew. It was just a best practice and everyone just did the same thing. But this changed recently because Klaviyo released benchmarks. So now for the first time ever, we can actually see the impact and the performance of this type of strategy. What the impact of the average beautiful emails look like. And to access this, we can go inside Klaviyo, then to the analytics section, and then to benchmarks. And we will see something like this. Let me explain. To the left, we have all the relevant metrics. Then we have your performance. This is a benchmark that Klaviyo gives you according in comparing you to your peers. So brands in the same industry and about the same size as you. So essentially your competitors. Then we have a column that says your value, self-explanatory, and the median, and the average of your competitors. So if we look past the vanity metrics, any relevant metrics like bounce rates, and we see what really matters, conversion rates and revenue per recipient, we can see that the average conversion rate is shockingly low at 0.03%. And then the average revenue per recipient is $0.09. So we can finally tell that this strategy of sending just emails that look good gets you ranked here with this offensively low numbers. And you will see how this is the screenshot of a Klaviyo account that we manage, how we're able to get results like this. In this particular example, our conversion rate is 12 times higher than the average. Our emails are generating 12 times more revenue than the average brand that is competing against our client. And we'll get to that in a second. But it gets even better because you can also see the specifics of how this data behaves. There's a button called Detailed View. And so you can see exactly how the bottom 25% looks like and the top 25% looks like. So there's like this picture, a normal curve. So kind of like this, right? So there are killers here in the top 25%, whose conversion rates are the highest. Well, there are brands in the top 1% and their conversion rates are even higher, but there's also brands in the bottom 25% and their conversion rates are shockingly low. As you can see, it's 0.01% conversion rate from the emails, and the top 25 it's 0.1. So you can see between the bottom 25 and the top 25% there's a 10x difference. Brands, the worst brands, the brands that are following this same typical approach, the best practice approach that you can see on every Klaviyo guide, every email platform guide, the best practices, here's what you should be doing. It gets you at best doing average by definition because everyone else is doing that, or it even can get you in the bottom percentage. In this particular case, we are sitting at the top 5% of conversion rate. That is the 95th percentile. So here's what this matters so much, because you can get the same 1,000 new subscribers every day that go through your website from Facebook ads or wherever, see your pop-up and subscribe. You're spending the same amount of money as your competitors, let's say. But if you are in the bottom 25% of conversion rate, you're generating 10 times fewer sales than your competitors. And so they have so much more money to spend back on inventory, ads, and scaling. Email marketing done right, it's an unfair advantage. So that is what I'm going to teach you how to do today. I'll walk you through the strategies that we use with clients to send emails that generate 3 to 10 times more sales than their competitors, and by so scale their email sales to 40% and beyond. And again, it gives them an unfair advantage because they can generate much more cash from the same money they are spending on ads, influencer, Google ads, anything. And so the name of this approach, the name of the strategy that we use with clients to get them these results is called conviction building. Here's a quick story on how all of this happened and how I came up with this approach. So in 2019, I was running my own e-commerce brand. I had spent already 2 years learning e-commerce and testing, setting up new stores and failing and testing new ads, and you know the typical cycle most of us go through, until I had finally found a winner and I was scaling it really hard on Meta ads. It was called Facebook ads back then. And everything was fine. ROAS was high, customers were leaving positive reviews on the ads and on email replies because this product actually helped people. It was like a medical device. It helped people's lives. So everything was doing fine. Until, of course, out of nowhere, I got sacked. And so I got banned. My business account, my every other account that I had, and my personal other account, so I could do nothing, right? So all my traffic died overnight, essentially. And it sucked. And it really stung for a while. But after that, I realized, okay, what can I do? I had been collecting emails for some time. I had a pop-up, but I was not doing anything with email marketing at all. I had a welcome flow, a checkout abandonment flow, but I wasn't sending any campaigns at all. It was just that. And those flows I had just like set and forget them. I didn't know how they were performing or if they were performing at all. I know they generated some sales, but benchmarks didn't exist back then, so couldn't know whether they were good emails, bad emails. All I knew is that I had to make email marketing work. So what I did, I read every single blog post on email marketing, every single book on copywriting after I realized that's what I needed to know. And I bought all the courses on email marketing that existed, which weren't many. And I started reaping an email a day. I had more free time because I wasn't testing as many ads as before. And so that was my only focus. I started sending an email a day, 7 campaigns a week, split testing everything that I have learned so far. So I wanted to see what really worked because I was honestly desperate to make it work. I have to make it work. And after about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I got enough data. I collected enough data and I saw something interesting. A few campaigns here and there generated 2-3 times more sales than the average, right? And this was using 0 discounts. By the way, I had already gone through the discount blasting approach, so I already know that that was not the right way to go. That just didn't work anymore with my list. So at first I thought these winning campaigns were just luck, like outliers, like they were random, right? But after 50 tests, 50 campaigns that I sent, I got a hint that there was something going on here. So I exported all the data from Klaviyo into a spreadsheet and basically reverse engineered what all these best campaigns had in common. And what I found was something really interesting. And it turns out that all the best performers, all the best campaigns, the ones that generated the most sales, they had one thing in common: 2 psychological elements. There were 2 forces that if an email had it, it was with a 99% certainty going to be a high converting email. And if the email didn't have these 2 forces, it was certainly going to be a bad performing email. So at that time, it was a huge breakthrough for me because this has changed my approach to email marketing forever. Because I could now engineer any email into an email that generated 3, 6, 10 times more sales than average. So this changed everything for me. Want to know what these 2 forces are? Let me tell you. The 2 psychological elements are trust and desire. These winning emails use psychological mechanisms to get people to want to buy our products more. That is desire. They created desire. But also, these winning emails use psychological mechanisms to get people to trust us with their money. They created trust. So when these 2 forces were present in an email, the email created enough conviction to get someone to buy. It took someone from, I guess I can get the product later, or I don't know if it's the right product for me. Took someone from that into, I need this now, which is what I call having conviction. So emails that created both trust and desire outperformed any single other emails 99% of times. So that was my observation. And then I simply wanted to turn this into a simple framework that either I or my team could easily replicate. It's very simple. And it turned to look something like this. Let me explain. If you want to get this sale, you must cross this barrier, what I call the conviction threshold. And this is something we all have. It's a minimum level of belief that we need before we buy something, anything, whatever it is. If you cross that, you get the sale. And so all of these best performing emails, these winning emails, move subscribers up and up and up until we got the sale, stacking trust and desire step by step. So this simplified everything because we've been taught to focus on opens and clicks and beautiful designs and clever copy and all of that. But instead, with this framework, we can now focus on what really matters. That is creating trust and creating desire. How you say it becomes less important. The subject lines become irrelevant. The colors, the spacing of an email, none of that really matters if the emails don't create conviction in the first place. If the email's ideas are bad to begin with, nothing can save them. A dull knife with a pretty handle is still a dull knife. So this is something we as marketers know internally. Specifically with ads. If the ad is the most beautiful, if it's the most on brand, if it's not generating sales, if the ROAS is low, then it doesn't matter. We will kill it. But with emails, we didn't have any way to measure this ROAS. We just sent emails and hope they generated revenue. With benchmarks, we really know what works and what doesn't. And conviction building is what works, is what gets us to scale. Back then, we had to rely on best practices instead and just assume that was what worked. Now we have this framework, conviction building. And conviction building let us create and generate emails that generate up to 10 times more sales. It tells us if you stay within these lanes, you are going to create high converting emails. It simplifies everything. And then at first I tested this with my own e-commerce brand. Then I started rolling this with clients when I started Email Engineers in 2021. And this has become our go-to strategy to get our clients in the top 10% of Klaviyo accounts for conversion rates. And it's a repeatable process, something we can simply roll out because it's a top level strategy. It tells us what to talk about, the ideas, right? Because again, you can have clever copy, beautiful designs, but it won't matter if the email idea is bad to begin with. So the reason why this matters so much is because if you were collecting, let's say, 10,000 subscribers per month, but your revenue per recipient was just average, right? You could be generating just $10,000, for example. But with this type of emails, you can now generate $30,000, for example. So again, this is an unfair advantage. And it's all because you're sending emails that say the right thing. And we have tested this across multiple industries, ranging from $8,000 saunas to $8 vegan condoms. It works because it's based on human persuasion. It's based on psychology. So we have tested this in beauty, skincare, supplements, heavy-duty work bags, car oil additives, fashion, everything. Plenty of industries. And another side benefit of this is that if you have a small email list, this lets you squeeze more revenue from that same tiny list. So let me show you an example. Using conviction building, we helped one brand generate $2 million in email revenue from a tiny list of less than 11,000 subscribers in 2024. This is our client that has the smallest list, yet we still manage to generate 7 figures from it, not from a 50,000 people subscriber list, from just under 11,000 subscribers. All because these emails had a higher conversion rate, so they generated more revenue. How? By staying between the lanes of conviction building, creating trust and desire step by step until we cross the conviction threshold and get the sale. So now the best way to drive this home is to show you an example of an email we created for a brand that is the complete opposite of what the typical email looks like, the typical e-commerce email looks like. The brand is called Blair. It's a skincare brand. They sell anti-aging face serums. And the audience is women over 50 who've tried it all and had it all. So they are super skeptics, right? They've been burned before. They've tried countless options, expensive solutions, product they saw on TikTok, everything, right? They just want to get rid of their wrinkles and feel better and feel young again. So the email you're going to see, it's a welcome email. Gets sent automatically whenever someone joins the email list through a pop-up. And before I read it, I have to warn you about this email. Is it ugly? Absolutely. Should it be featured on really good emails? Absolutely not. But does it convert like crazy? Bet you're glued it does. Let's read it. Hey, Claire here from the Blair team. Just wanted to reach out and let you know to keep an eye on your inbox. I'm going to be personally sending you some awesome emails throughout the weeks that contain helpful skincare tips, stories, and special discounts. So keep a lookout for any messages from me. Here's a quick introduction to me and how Blair changed my life. It all started about 14 months ago. At that time, I've had fine lines and wrinkles on my face for quite a while. At 63 years young, it's expected. It was nothing out of the ordinary. That was until one morning when I woke up, got out of bed, looked at myself in the mirror, and, well, it almost seemed like the lines on my face grew deeper overnight. I'm not sure why, but my wrinkles stood out to me more than usual. Am I really getting this old? I thought to myself. I'm not that old yet. But that morning, the lines around my eyes, mouth, and on my forehead told a different story. And as time went on, it just got worse. Believe it or not, I tried to hide it from the world, avoiding pictures, avoiding any events or gathering with friends. I felt way older than I really was. I know that's a bit extreme. It's just wrinkles. Yes, that's true. But I couldn't help it. I don't see anything wrong with trying to look your best for as long as you can. And that's exactly what I decided to do. If there was a way to iron out these wrinkles, look younger, and get my confidence back, I was going to find it. So I started searching. Was it easy? Definitely not. I spent the next few months experimenting with anything I could find: face oils, masks, retinoids, acids, and everything in between. Some made small differences, and others didn't help at all. Some even seemed to damage my skin more than they helped. Putting oils and serums to the side, I decided to look for bigger and more impactful options. Surgeries and facial treatments? No thanks. These had potential risk I was not comfortable with. Not to mention the big price tag. Not for me. I wanted something natural I could do at home. It wasn't long before I ran out of ideas. Then, one rainy Tuesday afternoon, I ran into an old friend at the grocery store. What blew me away, she's the same age as me, but looked years younger, even younger than when I last saw her. Looking at her face, it was smooth, no crow's feet, no wrinkles, and no lines across her face. She almost had a youthful glow to her. I couldn't resist asking, "What's your secret?" She looked at me, glanced around, LinkedIn, and whispered, "Search for Rejuvenate Face Serum from Imbler on Google." Ha! I thought. No thanks, not another serum. That night, as I was lying in bed, I told my husband about whom I had run into. Telling him about how young she looked prompted us to look at her Facebook pictures. And it was clear. She was literally aging backward. Her most recent photos showed her skin looking younger, clearer, and smoother than it did before. I was honestly in disbelief. I stood up, walked into the bathroom, and looked at my own skin. The difference was enormous, with the feeling of frustration pushing up my body. I caved and went into Imbler's website. I had to find out why this specific serum is so different than everything I've tried. Then I read about this. Their Rejuvenate Face Serum uses a unique multi-weight formula. What? Simply put, it uses ingredients of different sizes or weights. This helps the serum get deep into your skin, reaching areas most other skincare products can't. It's almost like it hydrates your skin from the inside out, tackling aging at its source. That, combined with the fact that in a study of 30 women who used Imbler serum for 150 days, 100% say their skin looked younger, 95% noticed fewer wrinkles and fine lines, and another 95% observed their dark spots appear brighter and more even out. That pushed me over the edge. I ordered 3 bottles of the serum. If I was going to try it, I was going to go all the way. A few days later, I had a knock at my front door. And sure enough, there it was. I took the package, cut it open, and pulled out the bottles of face serum. I immediately went to the bathroom and massaged some drops into my face. It felt smooth on my skin, almost luxurious, and it absorbed almost instantly, which was surprising. Up to this point, most serums I tried barely absorbed at all and left my skin feeling sticky. But not this one. I kept applying it every morning and night for the next few weeks. With time, I could see my wrinkles starting to look lighter, fine lines reducing, and almost every week I saw a younger version of myself staring at me in the mirror. When did I really know it was working? When people started giving me compliments. My husband, kids, family, and friends will all comment on how good my skin was looking. This took my confidence to a whole new level. I finally felt as young as I really was. "What are you using for your skin?" they will ask. Of course, I will send them to Imbler. In fact, I was so surprised at how effective the serum was that I reached out to the Imbler team. What ended up happening? I became a part of their team to help spread this serum to women around the world. Now, we've helped over 4,000 women around the world look and feel younger. Amazing, isn't it? Try the Rejuvenate Face Serum for yourself. You'll love the difference it makes. Claire, the Imbler team. So this was stupidly long, also stupidly ugly, but it also converts stupidly well. And I bet you can feel the difference. It's day and night between the typical e-commerce email and this. So this type of emails, conviction building text-based emails, are killing it right now. It's a little cheat code that we're using with all of our clients. And the reason why, besides the deliverability improvement of text-based emails, which is minor, it's that this feels personal, right? And the beauty of that is that when someone is expecting to receive an email like this, but they receive something like this, it keeps people and it meets subscribers with their guards down. So they don't feel they're being sold to. They just are reading a story and it's super compelling. And if you're someone in this audience, a woman, 50 plus, who wants to feel younger, they're going to eat the entire email. And so what we did right here is we simply stayed in between the lines. We stuck many trust building elements, many desire building elements into this email, and we created this. And yeah, some people might say that no one is reading this, right? So besides numbers proving that wrong, it's the psychological aspect. Again, a woman who wants to solve this problem once and for all. And they finally seem to have found a solution. They are going to eat this. And by the moment they get to the last line, they are completely solved. That is the beauty of conviction building text-based emails. And to create conviction specifically, we're using many methods inside this email. That is because this email is very long, so it allows us to create conviction via different mechanisms. So two desire creation mechanisms we're using. One is called metamorphosis, another is called vision projection. I break them down in other videos. And one trust creation mechanism is called problem telepathy. And this is basically demonstrating that we understand their problems better than themselves. And that is injected all throughout the story that you just saw. Now, the purpose of this video is not to break down the exact strategy. Over time at Email Engineers, we have collected over 17 ways to create trust with email and over 7 ways to create desire through email. So we could spend the next 12 hours breaking down each one of these ways, but that is not the main purpose of this video. The main purpose of this video is to give you clarity, because now you have something that most e-com brands don't. That is clarity. You know what, most emails just fall flat. They just don't work. They have such a low conversion rate. And you know what to do to change that starting today. You have to stay in between the lines. So now I have 3 options for you. If you're running a 7 or 8-figure e-commerce brand and you will want to have my team implement this strategy for you to scale your email sales to 40-50% without having to rely on discounts and flash sales that eat into your margins. There's going to be a link in the description of this video for you to schedule a discovery call with me. During this discovery call, we'll review your current Klaviyo setup and find the biggest opportunities, and we'll show you exactly how to implement the conviction building strategy for your brand specifically. So the link for that is going to be in the description. The goal is to also have your emails convert at the top. The goal is to have your emails, your flow emails, and your campaigns emails start converting at the top 10% of Klaviyo accounts. So they are generating 10 times more sales than your competitors. And by doing that, scale your email sales to 40%. Option 2, if you want to engineer high converting emails using the conviction building strategy, learn about the 17 ways to create trust with email, learn about the 7 ways to create desire through email, and see examples of each mechanisms through emails that we, email engineers, have created for our clients. There's also going to be a link in the description below. And finally, if you simply want an ugly email collection, a folder with 12 of our best performing text-based ugly emails, all of them are filled with conviction building mechanisms, there's going to be a link, you guess it, in the description of this video. I'm Matt Pirelli, and it's been a pleasure having you here today. Bye.